Hey guys, welcome to Home Sweet Homeschool. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I'm a homeschooling mom to one. And today is video number 5 in our series of We've Decided to Homeschool, Now What? So if you haven't seen the other videos and you're new to homeschooling or you just need some homeschool encouragement, definitely check out the playlist. I will leave it below. But today's video is my absolute favorite thing to do. I love planning. All things planners, all things planning, I love it. So today we're going to talk about how do we plan our yearly calendar. That is something that you have to decide. Are you going to do a traditional, like follow the school calendar of the area that you live in? Are you going to do Sabbath school, which is 6 weeks on, 1 week off? There are so many variations out there, and you can look those up and find all the different types. But I'm going to show you how I plan our school year. We did start our first year doing Sabbath school, and that worked really good. And then I tried to switch it up this year, and then it just all fell apart. But that's a whole nother story. But I want to show you how I plan and what you can do to successfully plan your year. Now keep in mind throughout this whole video, this is just a plan. If we've learned anything from this time that we have just experienced, we know that we can make all the plans in the world, and some things are just out of our control. So you do have to be flexible, and it's great to have a plan, but you also have to be flexible too. So let me show you what you need to make your yearly plans. I like to have blank calendars. Now this one is nothing fancy. As you can see, it's very, very plain. This one is from printacalendar.com, totally free. Go print up a calendar. You can do portrait or landscape. You can start any month that you want to. Or you can go find something cuter. There are tons of homeschool printables out there that are free and that are a lot cuter, like this one. I think this is from Tina's Dynamic Homeschool, and it even has some things for you to use at the bottom. This was free because I was a part of her email list, so you can get something cute like that. But I prefer to have just a plain calendar, and when I print them, I print two, and I'll tell you all about that in just a second. So 2 calendars, and then another thing I like to have are highlighters. These are the mild liners. I use these for all kinds of planning, but I do love these. They have the thicker tip and then the smaller tip. I like to use these, and I would definitely recommend that if you're going to make any kind of calendar, that you do it in pencil or you do it in an erasable ink pen like a friction pen, because like I said, this is just planning. This is not set in stone. So do it in pencil. So what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I recommend, and then I'm going to flip the camera around and show you what I've done for next year. So when you're getting ready to plan your calendar, you do have to decide, when are you going to start? Like, when do you want your start time to be? When do you want times off and things like that? So like I said, in our home, we do Sabbath school, which is where we work for 6 weeks, and then we take a week break, and then we start up again. And that's going to work really well for us because of the curriculum we use. We use Gather Around Homeschool, and we do unit studies, and so we can finish a unit study in 6 weeks with no problem. So that's what we do. The other thing I recommend you having, and it doesn't have to look like this, I typed up everything we were using in each 6 weeks term. So it's got our unit, our read aloud, our elective, our Tuttle Twins book, all that good stuff. I typed this up so that I would know exactly what I wanted to cover every 6 weeks. You could do the same thing with your curriculum. Write out all the curriculum you have, know how many lessons are in each of the things that you're doing, and that's how you can start to plan. So you do want to be aware of what kind of calendar do you want to have, what kind of schedule, what days off, and then what is my curriculum so that I can finish the curriculum. You know, how do I need to spread it out so I can get it finished, or does it matter if you finish it? It really just depends on you. But I know that for our curriculum, our unit study is 20 lessons. So I have to have at least 20 days. Well, by doing it in 6 weeks, that gives me plenty of days. But then I have to take into account, we go to co-op, if that happens this year, that would be 1 day of our week. And sometimes Fridays are just used for what we call unschooling, and we kind of learn whatever we want to. So we do have to take into consideration days that we're going to be out of the house, days that we just want to game school or fun school or unschool, whatever you want to call it. so that we can meet our 180-day requirement in our state. So instead of boring you with all this information, I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you how I plan for our school year, and maybe it will help you when you start to plan. All right, so here we go. We're going to sit down and we're going to plan the year. So this is what I like to do. Like I said, I start with a calendar, a blank calendar, and I like to print 2 of them. Reason why is I like to mark up one with my highlighters or my pencil, and the other one I like to leave blank just like this so I can stick it in my planner, because I like to mark the days in real time. So at the end of the week when we're actually homeschooling, I can go back in and I can highlight the days that we did school, because like I said, things come up, kids get sick, you might go on an unexpected trip, you never know. So I do like to have one to actually keep up with the days. Now it's not required in my state to show any of this. I just do this for my own personal, I just like to do it to show that we have been schooling for 180 days. So that's what the blank one's for. So this is the one that I marked on. And as you can see, I just used pencil this first time, which is totally fine. Let's move it down. I'm sorry, it's kind of out of the camera. Hope it's all right. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so this is the one I marked on. And just for planning purposes, I put a square around when we're starting, and I circled any special off days. Now, not the weeks that we're actually going to take off, but just special days. So if it's a birthday or if it's Thanksgiving, just some oddball day, then I'm going to put a circle around it. So this is how I plan. I know for my family that we always go somewhere during this week. Now, we're not gone the whole week, but it usually flows into that week, and it's just easier if we take that week off, because it's around my son's birthday, and we always take him on a birthday trip, and that's what I like for our first week to be off. So that's where I start. This is where I start our calendar, is our first week off. Okay, from this week, what I'm going to do is count back 6 weeks, and that's going to give me my start date. So you can do that from whatever time you want to. That'll give you your start date. So we're actually going to start July the 27th, so just put a square around it to know that's our start date. Once you establish that, then the rest is really easy. You just go from here, your off week, and you start counting 6 more weeks. And as you can see, I marked off when it was a 6-week period, and then I marked the week we're going to be off. And then when it gets to November, we don't take the whole week for Thanksgiving, but we do take off Thursday and Friday. So those were considered special days, so they get circled, and then we just keep counting. And I did that throughout the whole calendar. So you can decide if you're going to do a year-round and you just pick the random days that you want to be off. You could do a 4 weeks on, 1 week off. That's the flexibility of homeschooling. You have to find what works for you. And for us, this is what works for us. It helps us complete 180 days. So that's why I like to use this. Now, I wasn't really fancy. When I was first planning, I just wrote everything down here in my Happy Notes book. So I wrote our unit, our read aloud, our elective, and we're going to be using teaching textbooks, but I didn't put that in this plan. I wrote that I wanted to have 6-week segments, and once I had the calendar, I was able to kind of fill in the dates that I wanted. So your planning doesn't have to be fancy. Do what works for you. So this is what I used and started filling everything in. So this is kind of what it looks like. So I have this one that I marked up to begin with. Then I went in with my highlighters. Remember, I love those mild liners. They help me color code everything. And this is going to be a great visual for my son, so my son knows when his first off week is. He likes to see it. Telling him doesn't really mean anything, but if he can see it, he'll understand a lot better. So I just took my markers, and green is our start date. This orangish color is special days off, and this is our off week. And then over here, I have the colors and the unit that we're doing from Gather Round Homeschool. So I know that during all this time, we're going to be working on human body. During this dark purple, we're going to be doing North America. Now, is it okay if somebody gets sick and the weeks have to shift? It is. And that's why I always have the blank one. So if it doesn't work out and things shift, we just move everything around. So yes, this is beautiful. Beautiful and color-coded, and you could very well do this in PowerPoint and go ahead and color-code it in PowerPoint, but like I said, I'm not fancy, so I don't do all that kind of stuff. So if this doesn't work out and things have to move around, that's okay. This is just a plan, and I have this blank one that's going to be in my planner so I can actually mark it off in real time as it is happening. This just gives me an idea. So if my husband says, hey, I want us to go on a trip in February, do you have any time off? And look right there. I can tell him what time we have off. Or if a friend calls and they want to have a play date, we can move things around because we homeschool and we're flexible like that. So this is how I plan. You definitely want to print you off a calendar, possibly two, so that you can do your planning. If you have any questions about how to plan out your year, or where to find calendars, or just the different types of calendars, please leave them in the comments. Remember, I love talking about this kind of stuff, and I would love to help you figure out a calendar. So definitely leave those comments below. Also check out the playlist if you missed the other videos, and be looking for more videos to come in this series. We're going to talk about using checklists instead of a planner. We're going to be talking about weekly plans. I have so many things planned for this series. I'm going to be sharing my curriculum. So make sure you come back. And again, thank you so much for watching.